has got you feeling too much. It's feeling too much for you. Then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love not to. Just dance. If all my love has got you feeling too much, it's feeling too much for you. Then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love not to. Just dance. Has got you feeling too much. It's feeling too much for you. Then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love not to.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mini RPG of the Week. We are in Season 3. My name is Orion, and tonight I'm joined by Sai, also known as Thomas Nualaic, absent today, but we will be doing our best to fill his very large boots, won't we?
We will. He is absent. His Discord message says he's uncontactable until mid-July.
Is he in a submarine somewhere?
I think he's on the submarine. I think that is the devastating news, obviously, for the Trackmania community.
Yeah.
A new lake, but a very old ocean, and that's caught him off guard. So big F's in chat, I think, for Nua.
Yeah.
Sad times.
Sad event. But yeah, we are going to mark it by celebrating his favourite thing to do in Trackmania, which is watch the top RPG players in Trackmania 2020 try and navigate their way around a brand new RPG map that nobody's ever seen before. We have, however, seen this mapper before, and I was actually casting on that week. So by complete coincidence, we have another map, and it's another TMNF style map. Now, when we had this mapper a couple of weeks ago, probably one of, if not the hardest mini RPG of the week map that we've ever had. Lots of players struggled, and here we are on the map now. As a mod as well, so we've got these custom TMNF cobblestone textured blocks, which is always a fun thing. But yeah, the mapper, I think his name was pronounced Drops. It's either like Drops or like Drips or something like that. He's just been very cool and replaced the vowel with the letter X, as I'm told all the cool kids do nowadays. But yeah, the previous map that he put up, very hard pathfinding and also very punishing. If you missed a checkpoint, it was very difficult to kind of keep the flow of the map going. This one looks quite tight, a bit easier to navigate, I would say. It's a bit more obvious where you're meant to be going. The speed checks don't look as punishing either. But yeah, cool map so far, and hopefully we'll start to get the route ingrained into our heads sooner or later as we watch Ice make his way through the map doing his pathfinding.
Yeah, I think this cobblestone looks gross. I don't know if it's just the preview through the stream preview we've got going on here, but this has got to be distracting. It's like in Cup of the Day when someone replaces the road texture, and it's so distracting that it just becomes overwhelming. But like you mentioned, wayfinding seems a little bit better. No need for signs, but maybe just everything in the right place. People kind of know where we are. I say no need for signs. There's giant signs at the start. Other than that, there seems to be fairly easy wayfinding. The mapper's given us some info, some intel, an inside scoop. Apparently turns 1 and 2, I think, are the ones that he thinks. Or the hardest part is checkpoint 2 and 3. Yes. And the first is very wicked. Less Wicked Witch of the West, more just wicked, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just this first kind of drop down. It seems like quite a punishing speed check. Ice seems to have got it down, but I imagine the lower skilled players, shall we say, possibly may struggle. As we'll watch Ice go on a run here. He seems to have kind of figured out most of the map as he goes through this tight little section. Whips a Yui round the pole there, and it's straight into the next one. Those shadows there are a bit distracting, I would say. It does make it difficult to see where you're going, and Ice building up speed here to make that speed check. Possibly, maybe you can go inside on the inside line there and have enough speed, but Ice playing it safe for the time being. Goes through the triangle here, has to avoid a wall there. It's a bit of a narrow jump, and it's completely blind as well, so players are just going to have to get a feel for where they should be jumping. Jumps straight down there, but does he miss a checkpoint in doing so? No, that's the intended route from Ice.
Yeah, it looks like there's a sort of safer route if you just go further up. Or if you chuck it in sideways and stick the landing, you can maybe get enough speed to go over. That's interesting. You mentioned the shadows. That definitely does look like it'll be super difficult to sort of navigate through that dark section. It'll be interesting to see how the players hold up there. Yeah, it looks quite nice, but the start is pretty wicked. So I do like, get the wickedness out of the way early. You know, get the identity done early. Don't leave it till the end. We'll talk. And that's really interesting. Can't wait to see how that pans out.
Yeah, you can see Hazard there even struggling. And we'd also have a 20-minute timer, by the way, for players to learn this map. You can see Hazard there actually just going inside there. We saw Ice go all the way around that pole, but it doesn't look like you really need to be doing that. As Hazard's... Yeah, it's another... There's a couple of blind jumps here that I feel like are going to be a spot where a lot of players end up having to respawn, because... Like this one here, can't see over the top of the jump, but Hazard actually jumping a bit further to the right. So there's this checkpoint here, and yeah, Ice taking a different line, but Hazard looked like he actually keeps more speed, but straight into the pole there as well. Very narrow gap there to go towards the finish. And if you hit the pole, probably faster just to kind of take the hit and drive forwards than actually go for the full respawn there.
Yeah, that is... it's going to be fun. I wonder if we'll see anyone just hitting that reset to try and get that pole jump sorted fairly easily, fairly early on, or if we'll just see people doing the runs as per usual. You mentioned the blind jumps. One thing I always find with blind jumps is that the more comfortable you get with a map, suddenly those landing points, as you're getting faster, as your speeds are picking up through each corner, become different and different, and all of a sudden you get caught off guard by a blind jump that you sort of had a handle on. Now all of a sudden you're coming in with a bit more speed, and then you're hitting a pole or you're hitting a corner that you didn't think you'd be able to reach. So we'll be curious to see how that happens throughout the rounds as players get more comfortable. We did get, I don't know if you mentioned, but we did get this sort of time estimates from the mapper. I think the author time is a 50.5. So we'll see.
We are only a 10th off that at this point with Ice, who has done a 50.6. We were on board with him earlier. Now we're looking at Hazard, who currently has a 56.0. Wait, is that? Yeah, it is a 50.6. So where has Ice found the time here? I mean, Hazard's run looked decently clean, I have to say, but to be 6 seconds off that author time, surely he's doing something wrong.
Have we seen Hazard finish without hitting the pole?
Perhaps not. That would probably do it.
Yeah, it feels like that amount of time. It does feel like that amount of time, but even still, you know, he's not going to be getting over the line for another 2 or 3 seconds. Good little wide angle, but again, it's that blind jump into the speed difference from previous runs. Yeah, it does get over in 53. But yeah, the mapper was expecting about 52s in rounds, low 49s if people are really wired in. So, you know, getting on to the close to the author time, 6 minutes in for Ice, you got to commend that, particularly on a map like this with lots of different routes that you'll be able to take in terms of lines through the corners. So Ice definitely one to watch on this map, but Hazard looking a bit more wired in, getting his line sorted, and Cascas. Yeah,
well, this map compared to the other one, which I assume that you haven't seen from the same mapper, this is much more straightforward, and it still feels very TMNF style RPG. But yeah, the other map, I don't want to call it janky because that would feel like I'm discrediting the mapper and his ability in mapping because I can't even place 2 blocks together. But it was definitely a lot more challenging for players to get right just because of how precise it was, shall we say. This one doesn't look like precision is all that important. Like, you can have a couple of touches and clips and still find your way through the map on a decent pace, compared to previously where a single clip would just completely throw you off for the forthcoming sections of the map, and would just kind of snowball you into losing more and more time. So the map looks really good so far. Route seems pretty straightforward and consistent to finish, so hopefully we should see some really good rounds between the top players.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Be curious to see what the timing at the end of the round will be. I know you were mentioning last time it was quite long, but I think that won't be as necessary this time around.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's still a safe bet on the 20 minutes though. Give them a little bit more time to get an understanding of the lines. It's going to be really interesting to see how people are able to scrub speed through this section here. Ice doing a great job of it there. Whether or not that line is super repeatable or we'll see more lifting, that'll be fun to see. And yeah, it's sort of, as we're seeing the players get better, as we're seeing the better players get their eye in a bit more, I'm quite liking the flow of it. It looks quite fun. I think there's a lot of distraction with the cobble and the old TMF blocks, but I'm enjoying it. It's looking like a nice clean map that might be a bit fun to race around.
Yeah, players seem to be enjoying it as well. It doesn't seem to be the respawn simulator that the previous map was. We'll see this line from Ice here goes very tight and then picks up that speed block, but I can't tell if it's any faster than the route that Hazard is taking, where he's just taking a little bit more time before he drops down, and it's a much smoother drop down and allows you to retain more speed towards the finish. So we'll see if Ice adapts there. It might be in rounds if he sees that he's constantly getting sniped at the finish. He might opt to go for the other way that it seems that Hazard and also I saw Corzo going for as well. But Ice has been sniped away at the top. Yannex getting the first author time, I believe, is that 50.2, I think I can see. And there's another author time setter as well, with a 50.4. Can't quite read that name. Can you read it? The stream that we've got is about 360p here. I'm not gonna lie.
Artiste.
It's a bit scuffed. Artiste. There we go.
TM 50 something 50.487. I want to say comfortably. I'm gonna wait for the producer to yell it at us.
Yes, you're right. 50.487.
There we go. 50.487. Producer Mike, hot on it. It's in the microphone, not the name. And yeah, see more times in that all the time. 10 minutes to go. It'll be interesting to see how many 49s. I think it's fairly comfortable to say we'll get a 49 in the warm up or in the qualification. But how many will sneak under that 49 barrier? Obviously, we won't get a sense of how consistent people are being. We're not seeing a lot of clean runs. We're not seeing a lot of runs to completion here. So consistency will, of course, be key in those early rounds. But raw pace is always something worth keeping an eye on as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how many we get in the 49s. Dare I say a 48? Probably not, unless someone finds some really good time efficiencies.
Yeah, it doesn't look like any cut is going to be possible. The route is pretty standard. The walls enclose everything. There's no real time saves. There's no checkpoints that are next to each other or one that you could possibly even jump to. So I don't think we're going to see any cuts personally, but I do think we're going to see the top 15 start to bunch up a little bit as these further 9 minutes tick down. Currently 15th place is a 53.3, I think that is. And first place, I do believe we have our first 49. It's by Skyzen, a 49.918. We also have quite a big name in here in Arthur, who is a TMCL player for Team Ascent. Well, at least he is at the moment until the promotion relegation tournament. Unfortunately, they finished at the bottom of the table, so best of luck to him in that tournament. But he is here and he is playing, so some big names. And we've got our usual suspects as well in Yannick, Corzo, Ice, Hazard. They're here most weeks. No Lars or Marius this week. Haven't seen them in a little while. Don't know if they've really been playing much in Season 3. But I don't know who has won the most so far. My bet would probably be on Hazard. He does have a good habit of winning these. And seems to be very comfortable on these TMCL maps as well, as we see, pole from Artis at the ending there. How many times are we going to see a snipe at the finish from one or two players going into that pole right at the end of the map?
Yeah, those poles look like they're where dreams go to die. Looking at the angle, I was like, oh, that seems all right. Got that handed. That's going to be a good angle. Oh, no, pole. So that is going to be really interesting. Obviously a very frustrating way to lose the run. But like you mentioned, and I'm still not 100% sure if it's a reset or if it's just take another swing at it. That previous checkpoint's a little bit back, but seeing how long it takes for them to sort of get restarted and get moving again, I'll be curious to see if we see anyone go for the reset versus just sort of, vigilantly persevering past the pole. I guess we.
Oh my! Look at the times tumble. Artis with a 49.2. What's gone on there? Surely there's not a cut. Can we spectate Artis, please? See if he's changed the route at all here?
Check the tape.
That time has just dropped by 7/10 in a couple of minutes. We broke the 49 barrier, which seemed like it was we were slowly creeping towards it, and now a 49.2. Where has that come from? What are the players doing? What have they potentially optimized, or what reroute have they found that's a potential time save here?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. If it is a reroute, I can't see much reason for Artis to keep doing it. If you got that pace with a reroute, maybe keep that in your back pocket and pull it out when you need it. But I don't know. Maybe looking at some of these runs that we have seen that have been coming in, most of what we've seen on boards have been sort of late 50s, early 51s. There are a few bobbly moments, a few things that look a little bit clumsy. So maybe it's just purely optimization. I guess we'll jump on board with the current pole sitter, best time had, and it looks, at least from the ending, like there's no new things going on. Is that a 48.8?
That is a 48.8 that he has just set. Let's hop on board with him here, because that's almost 2 seconds faster than author time, and he is setting these runs consistently. So I'm interested to see what. Oh, it's that. So most players are just jumping there, but he is going full inside, keeping grip, keeping the speed, and he's probably gaining about a second in that one turn, because while everyone else is in the air, he is just accelerating towards the next checkpoint. He's definitely human, though. He's still making mistakes. But yeah, he has managed to find an optimization there, which means that you reduce airtime entirely and miss out that airtime in the first section here. We'll see what this time is going to be over the line. I don't think it's going to be a personal best because he took a slightly different line. He's hit the wall as well, but it still looks like that's a 51 there. And given that top 15 time is a 51, Artis has this map down. We'll see if we can catch this trick again. So this jump is normal, but he goes full inside here. Does risk bonking the wall for sure, because it is a very full send line, but everyone else is just jumping over that little gap there. And yeah, Artis has found a way to really just kind of power through it and gap everyone right at the start.
Yeah, I think we're seeing what I was mentioning earlier, really, with there's a lot more speed now that I think he's finding himself with, and so we're seeing those errors, like, that checkpoint's been missed a fair few times since we've been on board for the last sort of minute or so, and who knows how much more there is in this run, because it looks like, struggling to get to terms with some of that increased speed. That turnaround at the end is good, but that was a proper slowdown there halfway through. So maybe just experimenting. I think we saw him go for the longer turnaround in that 48 time, didn't we?
Yes. Wait, maybe we did. I'm not sure. We only caught the very end of that 48 time. As we see him go for it again, it saves so much time that like you could see how much he's catching up. And I think players probably will start to realize, but whether they actually go for that in rounds, because it is a much riskier strat. You have to be within pixels of that wall on the left hand side. This is looking like a pretty clean run so far, so we'll stay on board and see how he closes it out here. Reduces airtime by jumping to the right there as well. Is he going to clip the inside wall? Not quite, but he definitely has to slow down a little bit. Still could be a personal best here. It's definitely going to be a 49, I would assume, unless he hits the pole at the end. It is a 49.2 in the end, so that looks like his regu pace. And given that the second player on the leaderboard is on a 49, 49.3, 49.4, Artis is in a league of his own right now, but I feel like his kryptonite could be, that full send line is risky. That's what could cost him here.
Yeah, I think he's also just coming up against the upper limits of the speed on the map. There's those blind jumps where you are just coming into a checkpoint or something. There's not much more speed to be had there, otherwise you will just simply miss it, jump to the right, jump to the left, or just jump into the checkpoint itself. So we'll be curious to see if he continues to risk it early in the rounds. Obviously, you do want consistency, but just looking at that, I mean, he's bonked the top there, but I think he's still gained ground on those ahead through that section. That's so much pace to have in your back pocket, particularly if no one's picked up on it. But you got to imagine some people might be playing with cars on, or be seeing, hang on a minute, someone's overtaking me every time we come through this section. But yeah, still struggling to get the consistency. But then again, when you got 48s in your back pocket, you can worry about the consistency in rounds.
Yeah, the times as well are bunched right up now. We're within the last 2 minutes of practice, but everyone seems to be getting this map pretty consistently now, and that's kind of what I was expecting, given the route is quite straightforward to learn, and it's one of those maps that's kind of easy to complete but difficult to optimize. The top 15 now, we've got Corzo in 15th on a 50.6, and then second place is a 49.3, and then Artis in a league of his own on a 48.8. So I would say that we're probably going to see some quite close rounds. We're probably going to get the standard, culling at the start of 8 to 10 players that have maybe just installed the game. But following that, I feel like this is going to be a pretty competitive cup, and I don't think there's going to be too many big shocks as well. Like, I'm expecting the bigger names to make it all the way, because this map doesn't really have any gimmicks. It doesn't have any kind of points that feel a bit RNG that can catch you out. It's just a map that if you drive it well, you are on for an absolutely stonking time. Artis, again, 49.2 there as well. I think we are already potentially looking at our winner here. But, I mean, well, I guess I don't want to call it like that. My prediction is that Artis will probably win, given how much he's optimized the track already. But anything can happen. If you make one or two too many mistakes around, I don't know, the top 16 mark, you could see yourself going out prematurely.
Yeah, you mentioned the prediction of Artis.
Hazard.
Taking this and what? So, okay, Hazard's ruined my point. So what I was about to say is that we spent the early part of this watching Hazard and Ice trying to figure out what they're doing. How are they doing it well? They then fell outside the top 10, or just on the edge of the top 10. I believe Ice was 10th, Hazard was a little bit lower. So what I was about to go into is a very well thought out point, Orion, about how, it's not about getting there fast. It's about really grinding it out and finding the right move. And then Hazard did a 48-7. So I don't know what to say anymore. My point's gone. Yep. Narrative ruined. But I will take the bet against Artis now, because I believe in the Hazard supremacy.
Oh man, come on, don't do this to me.
You had all the information. All the information. He totally had already set that time by the time he committed. But yeah, that was really interesting, because Hazard just sort of didn't set a time that was particularly great for a while. Maybe was just grinding. Maybe just wasn't being able to get the run in. But we see here another attempt. I really do think this sort of short stop, get the spin in, is going to struggle to be as fast. It just feels like the outside line carries way much more speed, way much more momentum. But what the short one does do, if you can do it consistently, it does kind of put you a little bit more short of the poles. So maybe that's a more consistent angle, but I do think the times that we saw, I believe, were all set in the long run, and I think perhaps that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think they're similar in terms of total time, but perhaps the shorter way seems a little bit more consistent. You can see Alcats struggling a little bit here just to get that drift on landing, and because you carry so much more speed as well, it is a lot harder to avoid those poles. So with the short one, as you say, you land earlier, possibly also, gaining a little bit more speed by reducing airtime because of that early landing. I don't know. I feel like if both are executed properly, they're about equal. It just kind of depends on the players. We're having 10 eliminations in the first round, 60 players total as we go into the first knockout round. Are we going to see any more than 10? Possibly. Quite possibly. There's about 10 players there missing the jump at the start. We're going to ride on board with Alcats through the majority of this round. And he's currently 39th, so he's almost mid-pack there. We've had a lot of players making mistakes right at the start then.
Yeah, that first turn, the most wicked. Checkpoints 2 and 3, something the mapper raised as well as ones that could be a bit problematic. A very harsh reset on that checkpoint. I've only just noticed how long the gap is between these two checkpoints. You've got to make the jump, and if you don't, you go back quite a considerable distance. Yeah, Alcat's struggling a bit. It is a bit tricky. We are seeing up front Yannick's setting the initial pace, so it'll be interesting to see. And is that
that is a 48.2, yeah.
Is that? Where has that come from?
That is half a second faster than what anyone set in the warm-up.
All right, are they pranking us? Has Nua arranged... Is this a prank? Where are they finding this pace?
I mean, Yannick's is known for this, just pulling times like that out of thin air. But half a second on what we thought was already insanely optimized by Hazard and Artis. And I was saying at a 48.8, Artis was in a league of his own because he was half a second faster than second place at the time. Now Yannick's on the first round in a league of his own.
A lot of leagues.
Can we spec Yannick's maybe next round just to see what route he has potentially found, what optimizations he's making, because that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of leagues going on.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Only Nua will know more about how many leagues as he is under the sea. This is an insane opening round. Particularly as I guess they're very comfortable in full sending it early. They know they're not going to be in that bottom 10. But that much pace to come out of warm-up. I don't think Yannick's best time was even a 48. before we came into
I'm
here.
not sure it was. No, maybe he's just playing with cars on and he's seeing what Hazard and Artis are doing. You can see that is currently our top three. Hazard in first, Artis second, well, jostling for position, and then Yannick's bringing up the rear. So has Yannick's found an optimization at the end, maybe, that's gaining him some time? Doesn't look like it. I mean, we'll see what the... Uh-oh, no slide from Yannick's. We'll see what the times are as we go over the line. Hazard 48.9. So yeah, that was a 48.9 from Artis, and that looked near perfect. So where on earth did Yannick's pull that 48.2 from? I have no idea.
These are some crazy times. Dare I mention, right? We thought I was a fool when I mentioned 48 might be possible. Orion, are we going to see a 47?
No.
No? That's a big call.
I'm flat out saying no. That, like, I know we've been going, like, to, oh, it's fully optimized. Oh, no, it wasn't. It's fully optimized now. I don't know. I feel like we're there now. Like, players are in rounds. They're no longer in discovery mode. At the end of the day, they've got to finish the map. They're not going to be trying out new things. They're just going to be trying out their most optimized version of the map. I don't think Yannick can drive 0.3 faster than that, personally. 47 seems out of the realm of possibility. Maybe we can push it down to a 48.2 or 48.1 if Hazard or Artis has a near perfect run. But as the rounds go on, players are going to want to be maybe safing a little bit more just to survive. And yeah, I think that either Yannick's will end up with the best time of the entire tournament here, or we will bring it down a little bit lower. But 47, not for me.
You heard it here first. Chat will remember when we see Yannick's send a 47 to win the entire day's event. I believe. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I haven't really been keeping track of the sort of mid-split times. Normally I try and, keep an eye on what does that sort of second to last checkpoint time look like, if it's going to be super powerful. What are you expecting to see if you're expecting world record pace? I haven't been keeping an eye on that, but I also think there's so much time in the ending. I'm not sure how much that would be beneficial. We're seeing runs come in where people are making a load of time at the end. People aren't making that much time at the end. But we're seeing Hazard set at 48.9. Some more human pace laps being set. Runs out here. Some new names-ish in the top 5 that we haven't really spoke much about today. We're seeing some people fail at the pole. I think definitely the perseverance approach. No reset is going to be the right one there. But we're still sort of waiting for our answer on short versus long in that final checkpoint. So will be interesting to see if all of a sudden someone finds a load of consistency on this short run. Not sure. Not sure.
You know what they say? It's not the length; it's what you do with it.
That's true. And right now, Pedro is not doing great with it. So hopefully,
bless him.
He's doing his best, and bringing it home for, I believe that's Colombia. There we go. Yeah. I don't know if you've had this unrelated as a sort of inside baseball TMCL production chat that this kind of is. For some reason, whenever I do production for TMCL, the car skins don't load.
Yeah, I've had that a few times as well. I think that it's possibly a setting somewhere, or I think maybe an Open Planet plugin is messing with things recently. Because, I disabled all my Open Planet stuff and my car skin magically came back the other day. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I just won't use Open Planet for a bit then.
That makes sense, because everyone in Twitch chat thinks they're the first person to point it out whenever it happens, and it does get a little bit frustrating. But luckily, no one tells it's me doing production, so it just looks like it's Nua and Twiggy's fault, so that's all fine. With me, always happy to blame things on Nua. So is Twiggy, to be fair. Exactly. Nua's not here, so if the map was awful, we'd have blamed it on Nua. If the map's good, it's obviously mine and your fault.
Oh yeah.
Or reason. Sure. And 49.1 was 49, not a 48. I heard the enthusiasm.
I thought we got there.
Thought we got there. I've just pulled up the Twitch stream. It was way better, and it's like half a second behind for the timings. It's going well. We're seeing a lot of consistency. I'm not seeing much consistency out of Ice, who we saw earlier, setting some good times. So it'll be interesting now that we get towards the meat and potatoes of it all. We're sort of doing that early cull, as you mentioned. It'll be interesting to see how much consistency is going to come into play. It does feel like if you're willing to leave a little bit of pace on the table, that you are able to find those runs, but let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, interestingly, Artis had a bad round. Not last round, which he won, but the one before, he ended up in about 30th place. We've still got, 38 players in contention. So we've almost whittled down half the field. I believe we started with about 60 as we ride on board with the French player BC Bubbles. Let's see how he fares. He's around mid-pack at the moment, and it seems pretty... it seems like a pretty consistent map, like everyone is slowly strung out over the course of it, but there's no kind of big kind of culling points where everyone just fails all of a sudden and you see 500,000 people respawn. Everyone kind of seems to be able to follow at their own pace, and there are a few mistakes that come through, but it doesn't seem like any mistakes on this map are huge. They're not that punishing. The map isn't out to get you. It just wants you to complete it pretty consistently. I think the only thing that really is out to get you are the poles at the end, as we see a few players falling foul of those.
Yeah, I do think the poles are going to play a major role at the end of this match. I'm going to be looking forward to that. But like you mentioned, there's not that many sort of hard speed checks. There's a few where you'll obviously bobble, you'll lose some time. But it's nice to know that for the most part, most of the speed checks you can sort of just bobble your way through and won't force a hard reset. I also don't know if we've had any timeouts beyond... I think we only lost 10 in the first round. We didn't lose anyone on top of that, which sometimes you see on these harder tracks when people start getting timed out en masse, like the sort of Cup of the Days where it's ice and it's just a bloodbath. We're not seeing too many of that. We're seeing fairly consistent times from, let's say, the upper 20 drivers, and soon we'll get to just them at the end and see how they all pan out. But Hazard having a good run, keeping an eye on everyone in front of him. I do wonder if at what point the players will be enabling the cars to see if anyone has spotted anything. We haven't had any times. It is pretty crazy. First round, smash out of 48.2, just refuse to elaborate, refuse to improve the time, coast. I do wonder if there's something there that maybe the players are trying to keep to themselves. There's always the possibility that there was a line that, what's his name, just stumbled upon, that Yannick stumbled upon that was really fast, but to be 0.5 faster than everyone else, you've got to assume there was something. I'll be very interested to see the world record at the end of this. What is he doing? Orion? I can't hear Orion.
Hello. Yeah, I'm back. Hi. We've still got over half a minute left on that DQ timer, and already 32nd place has finished. So, yeah, we're not seeing players fail to finish. It's just, making mistakes and falling behind the pack. But we are halfway through our players. We're not halfway through our rounds just yet, because obviously we get to the 2 eliminations and then 1 elimination a bit later on. But half the players have been eliminated, 30 remain, and this is honestly turning out to be quite a competitive cup, given the kind of simplistic nature of the map. The route is easy to follow. There's not that many skill checks, but we are going to be watching the battle at the back here, and I'm going to call this guy Caption from the Czech Republic, who is currently in 25th. Nabla is quite... Oh, that's got to hurt. Oh. Right in the plums.
Sort of felt that. Yeah. Viscerally. Yeah, that was super interesting. How close that was. The battle at the back will be interesting. I've just sort of noticed, looking at the best times, which have now been hidden, but I'm sure we'll take a look at some point. If you just assume, that we have to check Yannick's PC, and that was an ungodlike time. The top 14 are within less than sort of 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, I did notice
with
that
their
as well.
Best times.
They have been bunching up, as I was predicting that they probably would. We've got 2 pretty decent players out in Brinken and Yozo, who often tend to get quite far. Yozo stuck there on the jump. Is that right at the start? Yeah. That's right at the start, isn't it? Poor Yozo. Yeah, Kachin, cursed there of being spectated, also out, and Neutralis out as well. So we are now down to 26, and I believe 4-player eliminations continue all the way down to top 16. Reminder, top 10 will be featured on the Liquipedia page as well. So that is where you want to finish if you want to have your name immortalized into Mini RPG of the Week history, as we see 3 respawners at the start there. And Mange Moelle Bolé.
That's good. I respect
that. Correct, yeah?
You've sent it, and I think you've nailed it, that one.
Yep. Well, man, I got an A star in GCSE French. I'm goated at languages.
I didn't do it at all. What's Très bien? There you go.
Very good, yes.
Is that what it is?
Except when he crashes, yeah. Très bien.
I see.
If he crashes, then it's très mal. Très mal, very
Très
bad.
molding.
Trim if you do something très mal, you will be très malding. Yes. Oh,
making memes on the Mini RPG of the Week stream. I actually did GCSE Welsh.
Did you?
Yeah, much to the disappointment
Poppity ping.
Yeah, poppity ping, microwave. Thank you. Yeah, much to the disappointment of the some of the teachers in the school. To which one of them responded, "I don't know why you guys have to learn Welsh. I had to learn Latin in high school, and I think it's unfair to teach a dead language," which I think is harsh. I am Welsh. I don't think it's necessarily dead, but no one really knows. I could say Welsh words now, and no one would call me out on it. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to know what the correct pronunciation of any of these things are. But très bien, but not très bien for too many. There needs to be more vowels in your name. Kaishox. Kishox. There we go.
Bless you.
And by the way, you missed another way of getting your name on the Liquipedia page for Mini RPG of the Week. And that's to do production or casting. Way easier. Way easier. I've got TMGL. I've got TMCL. Yeah, that's how you do it. You know what I mean? Just when you look at the page, just blur your eyes a little bit. You won't see production. You'll just assume you were there competing, tell the grandkids, all that stuff. Back in my day. Yeah, it's easy peasy. Nobody asked how my TMGL stream went.
I beat Carl Jr. with one hand behind my back and my eyes closed.
Exactly. On a Wiimote.
Yeah.
I want to see, I don't know if you've seen Twiggy play Valorant with...
I have seen Twiggy play Valorant. It's the most scuffed but most amazing thing I've ever seen. Hold on, Yannick's Dink Donk. Yannick's big mistakes.
Trey Bonk.
17th, so he's in for now. Didn't see where those mistakes happened. Surely he doesn't hit the pole and go out. Surely.
He has not got time for a reset. He's only got 3 seconds in the bank. Very consistent. The safing there, hitting us with a drift at the end just to show, never in doubt. But that was close. You know, one more reset, and that was going to be a comfortable L there. So, yeah, came in clutch when he needed to. Not a good day for the Swiss this round. Swiss time and Swiss goalie have gone out.
At least they went out holding hands.
That's good. Yes. Being very neutral towards each other, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As is tradition.
Well, I would say we're now down at the kind of the juicy end of not the bracket, but the cup, shall we say? We're now, I would say that the top 15 players are within half a second of each other. In terms of the top times, I don't think we have exactly the top 15 that you see on the right-hand side of your screen there left, but I imagine a good proportion of them are present with us in the remaining top 18. We still have 4 eliminations. Mange Moelle Bolé is not having a good time of this. Très mal so far. Ice is also in the elimination zone. That's an interesting one.
Artis is on the buffer.
He can make his way back up. Yeah, Artis is right on the line. Yannick looks like he's going to be making it through. Ice still in 15th. He's going to need to take Skies in here.
No
Maybe by the skin of his teeth makes it in. Yannick's out. Wait. Yannick's out.
What happened there? How has that happened? We saw Yannick sailing away. Must have
hit the pole.
Now that is, for those watching at home, which is where I assume everyone's watching, that is our world record holder our half a second faster than the field holder out in the round of 16.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you who's going to be very happy about that. Hazard and Artis. Never mind, Hazard is going to be very sad because he has just failed the start completely. Is in 13th place, and Ice as well. It's Hazard versus Ice to see who stays in here. We were just talking about both of these players, like either of them could win. Hazard makes another mistake. It's going from bad to worse for Hazard. He's all the way at the back, but if anyone can make up time at this point, you would have to think that it is our second place player on the leaderboard, but it would be irony, wouldn't it, to see the first place player on the TimeAttack leaderboard and then the second place go out after. And Artis is going to be thinking, I'm starting to see a pattern that I'm not so sure that I like here.
Yeah, a bit of a chuckles I'm in danger moment, probably,
yes.
For those that were setting
Wait,
the
Hazard.
faster times early. Hazard's come through. I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Oh, he's made it.
What is this? 18 hundredths of a second.
Man,
Both Hazard and Touj Tamas are in. Lingo, who was far in advance, I was going to mention it earlier, but I thought was long gone, misses out, and that was the field covered by no time at all at the line there for elimination, and get out of jail free card for Hazard.
Yeah, 8 seconds to elimination now. That's not a whole lot, really. But like, that is essentially one mistake or a respawn now. So players have got to be completing a perfectly clean run here. No clips, no bonks, no respawns, no nothing. It might even be decided on pure pace. Ice again at the start having issues. Nabla already DNF'd, so there's only going to be one player eliminated on pace, but Ice finds himself 5 seconds behind. We saw the previous round was 8 seconds to elimination. So, I was going to say he's going to have to hope for a mistake up front, but it's going to come from Ice himself. And now another one of the top players looking like they're going to be saying goodbye in this round.
Yeah, the band is still playing, but the ship is sinking. Ice doesn't look like they're going to be able to get through this round. Can't see any tracks ahead. He's got a nice clean track, which in any racing game means one of two things. Either you're leading the field or the field's left you. And at the moment, Ice not having a good time going for the style points, hitting it in reverse. And yeah, it's been merciless. There's been no room for error, particularly on that respawn, which, like I mentioned before, takes you about 3 kilometers back if you miss the jump. Absolutely brutal checkpoint respawn there. Probably lose close to 6 to 8 seconds. And Artis, Corzo, Hazard, these are the names we were sort of talking about at the start. And a bunch of people who we weren't really covering that much at the start might find themselves in a position to make some changes. And I do believe both the people we said were going to win are out. No, Artis is still in. So you might still win. I took Yannick's and you took Artis.
Yes,
you stayed strong.
Yes. I still favour Artis, even though he is in the red at the moment. But he's already overtaken Vortex. There's absolutely nothing stopping
Never in danger?
this guy. No, never in doubt. Never in doubt at
Ooh,
all.
Hazard's checked up.
By the way, top 10. So whoever is participating in this round will be getting their name on the Liquipedia page for this week. Skyzen going for the slow turnaround there, and I think it might cost him. Oh, it's close. Yes, he has got in Hazards in as well. I think it was Rin maybe hitting the pole, and Touj Tamas. I don't know how that is because it's how that's pronounced because it's Hungarian. He's out. However you pronounce his name, he's gone.
Yeah, I think it might be a namesake there, but across a different language. Tamas sounds a little bit like Thomas. Maybe similar. Who knows? But yeah, we've got our 2 out, Touj and Rin. And now we will continue to see the field get slimmer and slimmer. Liquipedia immortality has been bestowed upon them, and now it's time for the true glory of winning, or at least lasting longer than most people around you, if you can. And it's going to be interesting. We've still seen errors from the people we expect to do really well. Hazard spent a lot of time with the red number on the back of his car, and Artis has had his share of them too. So let's see who can keep it up. Skyzen has been at the back at the start of every round. I don't know if they've got some sort of goated midsection here, but they're comfortable with a red number on the back of their car, unlike me in Cup of the Day. And see, it turns white. Just give it enough time. Très bien. Très I can't remember what white is in French. All right, you have to bail me out.
What, bad?
No, what, blanc? Is that
Oh,
white?
white, yeah, blanc.
There we go, blanc, wonderful. And
Nombre, no, that's name. Is that name? No, I don't know.
We should really know French because of it is Trackmania.
Yeah.
The national language. Canadian might be French Canadian, who knows? But will definitely be not taking part in the next round. Ricelin and Da have been out. Yeah, the real magic was DNFing, just having enough. But we'll see what the rest of the map has in store for us. I'm starting to like it. The cobblestone has grown on me. I think maybe because I'm watching the Twitch stream. I'm not watching the Discord stream anymore.
Oh, Corzo, big mistake at the start. That's going to cost him, and if anyone else is playing with the HUD on, they're going to see that player respawning so that they can safe the rest of the run. So, yeah, Corzo has a lot of work to do here if he wants to try and catch up to the field. He's made another mistake there, but it's not going to cost him too much time. Currently 5 seconds back. I feel like that could be curtains for Corzo unless anyone decides to smack their face into a pole at the finish, as Corzo continuing to make small little mistakes here and there and continuing to lose time. We'll go on board with Snatix, who is in 5th, and we'll keep our eyes peeled to see if anyone decides to hit a pole at the end. It looks like everyone's gotten through clean, and Corzo, who had warmed up considerably over the course of the rounds and was looking like one of the favourites to win, finds himself bowing out in 6th place.
That inside line on the end, though, if anyone picks that up, looks fairly comfortable. Seeing him set up for that inside line, trying to go, short of the poles. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Now we really get to see. We'll be able to decipher really what's going on at the end, because there's only 5 of them left. To see where that run has happened. He's gone.
No. How? I didn't even see what happened. He didn't even fail the jump. He got some sort of weird landing bug and just lost grip. Oh, he's got some catching up to do. This is my reputation on the line here, Artis. Come on, man. Pick it up.
5 seconds down.
Yeah, 5 seconds down. I feel like Hazard, if Artis goes out here, Hazard can probably just walk away with this and come out victorious. The other 3 players I'm not as familiar with, but Hazard just is kind of the Giga Chad of mini RPG of the week, the final boss, if you will. We'll see if anyone makes a mistake at the end, which may allow Artis to come back in and save me. Sky's in there going for the short turnaround. Anyone going to throw it into the pole for me? Doesn't look like it. Artis, after looking so good in the time attack stage, only finishes 4 seconds behind, but that was enough. And the top 3 separated by only 4/10 over the line. So it's just testament to how close these rounds are at the moment. Any mistake at this point, and you are probably heading out.
Skies are not really going for that short approach to the ending as well. Seeing that approach being used in the top 4 is interesting. Definitely looks slower, but perhaps more consistent. And it's when that sacrifice needs to be made where you do have to go for raw pace over consistency. But right now, top 4 separated by less than half a second. Those are some good times going out. I say that, and immediately Hazard just decides to find a half a second of their own. I'm just going to go ahead. You guys can follow me.
Oh, Hazard
clipped!
Oh, bad jump there. Is he going to be safe with this, though? We were just saying that Hazard would probably run away with it, but how the mighty have fallen. He's going to need PayPal ending here if he wants any chance of being safe. Skyzen is going for the short. Hazard going long. Anyone sending it into the pole? Hazard is out, ladies and gentlemen. I was talking down the other 3, Snatix, Vortex, and Skyzen, but here we are. That is your top 3 for Mini RPG of the week, and only 2 more rounds left to decide who is going to be ultimately victorious here.
I think Skyzen has finished in the last 2 or 3 people every round for this entire game. This person knows what it's like to have the back against the wall, and they are still excelling. That short run is seemingly quite quick. I don't think Hazard made any time up at the ending there. We are seeing a couple bonks. Looks like an all-French finale we have here. I know, very rare for Trackmania. But yeah, all 3 very close. Like I mentioned, Skyzen, familiar with the red numbers, lives in the red numbers, will find time to get that white number back. But Vortex and Snatix just driving within each other at the moment, which is always fun to see as they immediately get separated, of course. Don't let me build a narrative. But Skyzen now, will they be able to make that time up? And this is where we'll really see the value of that short finish, unless they bonk. But let's see. Will they be able to find the time at the end? I don't think so, unless we see a pole. No pole, indeed.
No pole. Well, it seems like Skyzen was born in the red numbers. Vortex and whoever else is left merely adopted them. Snatix and Vortex is your final in this edition of Mini RPG of the Week. Is it going to be decided on pace, or is it going to be decided, as most Mini RPG of the Weeks are, with a mistake? No players making mistakes in the second and third checkpoints, as we've seen so many players do. Snatix wide line there, and he's going to be a bit all over the place, going to allow Vortex to open up about a second lead here. Didn't really make a mistake there, Snatix, but was just on the wrong line entirely, and he's got a lot of time to make up. Clip on the checkpoint as well, going to make this jump that little bit harder. Vortex running away with it as things stand, but as we go to the finish, we know that there is one final obstacle standing in the way.
The pole. I like this dramatic reveal.
Wait.
He hit the pole himself.
Vortex almost missed the finish, but yeah, Snatix, yep. Straight into the pole. But Vortex is your champion for this edition of the Mini RPG of the Week. Survived every round out of 60 players. Beat off the main names in Artis, Hazard, Yanix, Corzo, and the like. And ultimately takes victory here.
That was incredible. I want to check the archives. I want to check the libraries. I want to check every source of material there is out there. I guess Wikipedia too. Has anyone ever set a world record in the first round and then no one's got any close before? Can we just reevaluate?
Yanix, yeah.
Because that was insane. I thought a whole new horizon was approaching, a new dawn, a new dusk, whichever one is the morning. But instead, we never saw anyone get close again. That was half a second on the field and just refused to do it again. Who knows? Might have found a cut, might not have. No way of knowing.
Yeah, I don't think there were any cuts because, I don't know, the map was fully enclosed. You couldn't really jump from checkpoint to checkpoint. The checkpoints were well spaced. I don't know. It just must have been the perfect run in round one from Yanix. I might even go and watch that now, to be honest. Or
can production bring it up?
On stream? Can production bring it up? If you go into Mini RPG of the Week campaign, wait, he might not have club access though. Don't know. We'll come back to you on that. But yeah, if we do, I'll probably get a shout in my ear saying we can watch that world record run from Yanix. But I mean, yeah, we got to talk about Vortex. He was a dark horse throughout the entire competition. We were always talking of the big names, the Hazard, the Artis, Yanix, Corzo, Ice as well. And yeah, Vortex just kind of silently made his way through all the rounds and clutched it up in the final.
Yeah, great to see. I think it really did come down to one mistake and you were really back against the wall. Yeah, I think in these types of maps, normally the better players can maybe find that pace if they make a mistake throughout the run to kind of claw back those slower drivers in that sort of top 32. But one mistake and you were out, particularly with some of those incredibly punishing checkpoints. Orion, we are going to try and get the world record up to show those at home and those watching perhaps on public transit, maybe at work. Let us know. Write into Twitch chat. If you are not at home where you are, we are clearly stalling for time here. I need content to bounce off of.
I'm going to coach the producer how to do this, right? So if you go into Mini RPG of the Week, like the club, and you go into the Season 3 campaign, I think the map is uploaded. If the map is not uploaded, we can't do this. But if the map is uploaded, go on the map, and then on leaderboard on the left, there should be Yanix up the top with a 48.2. And if you click on that, then we should be able to watch it. Got it?
Welcome to Orion Gives Tutorials on Trackmania's UI. The map's not uploaded. I guess we'll never know. Or we'll know slightly later. That is a shame. But yeah, can't wait to see. Maybe we can get the official Twitter account to tweet out a video of that run. It'll be interesting to see if anyone tries to hunt it, get a bit of running in afterwards. Who knows? I can't remember the format if for this season, if it's the same as last season, but it might not be the last we see of it, perhaps, or not. Who knows? Anything else to say, Orion, before we head off to the
think
end?
We are pretty much ready to wrap things up here. But yeah, that was a really good map actually, and I think the map that we had before from the same mapper drops got not a lot of hate, but a lot of criticism just because of how difficult it was. Like some players just couldn't learn it and optimize it quickly enough. That map was the complete opposite. That was a perfect map for Mini RPG of the week. Probably one of the best I've seen in terms of a map that allows the whole field to complete the run. Everyone was pretty close together and allows the top players still to go off and optimize and get those top times. And they were some insane times as well. Like the mapper said the AT was a 50.5. He said during rounds it will probably average out at 52, except for the good players, maybe 49. We had most players, or we had, I would say, the top 10 in the 48s. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, but still struggling to hit it consistently, which was the hallmark of a great map, is that the time isn't just there once you found it. You've got to keep digging. You've got to hit your marks reliably. And we saw people struggle to do that. So that's always good. I'd like to see it again if it does meander its way back into the finals, perhaps. But yeah, anything to say before we head off?
I think that's it, and I think that's all she wrote. Well-deserved victory to Vortex, who managed to survive all the way to the final and ultimately take victory here. But we will be back same time, same place next week with Mini RPG of the Week. I will not be back. I will be replaced by somebody else. I think are you casting next week?
I don't believe so. No. I think it's best for everyone. Yeah, no, I won't be here. I don't know if the casters have been announced. But those are the cards. There we go. 16th tower, not to be confused with any of the other towers. And Drizzly Bear will be casting with Hazza producing as per having that run. And Nua will, of course, be underwater.
Yes. RIP. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and see you here next week. Good night.
Good night.
From side to side, we gon' make you lose all inside your mind. Oh, we gon' get you through this, just for one more high. So baby, let's orbit tonight. We gon' make you move from side to side. We gon' make you lose all inside your mind. Oh, we gon' get you through this, just for one more high. So baby, let's orbit tonight.
Let's lose our mind.